Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video for year 3 and 4. My name is Mrs. Lucas. Today's video is about rounding. We are going to practice rounding to tens and to hundreds, and we're also going to learn how to round decimal numbers.
Yes! Oh my gosh, Rosemary, how many sweets do you have? Well, maybe 200? Are you sure? Because it looks like you've eaten some. Fine, about 170. I know you, Rosemary. You would have counted every single sweet. Fine, 173. Make that 172.
So in the video clip we have just seen, Rosemary said she had about 200 sweets. Now she was estimating and rounding to the nearest 100. So she thought around about 200 sweets. And when Delilah said to her, Rosemary, I think you know how many you've got, Rosemary said, okay, I think I've got round about 170 sweets. So what she had done is she had rounded to the nearest 10. So there she rounded to the nearest 100, and here she rounded to the nearest 10. You can see the 7 in the tens column. So that's 70. And Delilah, being her older sister and knowing that she would have counted her sweets, said, Rosemary, how many sweets are there in that bag? And Rosemary said, okay, there are 173 sweets in my bag. Exactly. So we're going to go back and think about how we round to hundreds, how we round to tens. Okay, so let's have a look at that next slide. Okay, so let's remind ourselves how we round a number to the nearest 10. Now you all must always read the instruction or the question. It says round the following numbers to the nearest 10. So we find our tens column. We look at our tens column and then we think about the rhyme that I'm going to show you here. Is the digit next door more or less than 4? Okay, so there is our 6, that's our tens column, 60. The digit next door is less than 4. So we are going to round down to 60. So let's just write that here. 6, 0, 60. Let's have a look at another one. So round the number to the nearest 10. Look at our tens column. 3 tens. That means 30. You know that. Is the digit next door more or less than 4? It is 4, which means we round down. 4 or less, we round down to the nearest 10. So 34 becomes what? You've got it. It becomes 30. I can tell you are all doing a fabulous job. Better than my writing, I'm sure. Excuse that with this pen. Okay, the final one. Rounding to the nearest 10. In the tens column, we have an 8. 80. Is the digit next door more or less than 4? The digit next door is 5. You know this. If it's 5 or more, we round up to the next number. So 85 becomes what? Let me hear you. You've got it. It becomes 90. Okay, now we're going to get a little bit harder. And I know you're all going to be able to do this, but you might be confused at first. So let's remind ourselves. Here we have a hundreds column, a tens column and a ones column. We have 4 in our hundreds column, 400. We have 6 in our tens column, 60. And we have 7 in our ones column, 7 ones, 7. So the number is 467. But we don't lose sight of the instruction of the question. Round the following numbers to the nearest 10. We still look at our tens column. In our tens column, we have a 6, 60. We can forget about the hundreds. Don't need them because we're rounding to the nearest 10. Okay, is the digit next door more or less than 4? Let's go next door. It's a 7. It is more than 4. So we are going to round 67 to 70. So the whole number becomes, and I know you're going to be able to do this, 470. Okay, now we are going to revise and practice rounding the following numbers to the nearest 100. So remember, always keep the instruction in your head. We are rounding to the nearest 100. So we come here, we look at our hundreds column. It's got a 3 in it. It's 300. We go next door. Is it more or less than 4? It is 4. So we round down to 300. So the answer there is 3, excuse my writing, 100. Let's do the next one. 891, rounding to the nearest 100. We have an 8 in the hundreds column. We look next door. Is it more or less than 4? It's a 9. It's therefore more than 4. So we are going to round our 8 up to 9 and make it 900. Okay, now I know you are all ready with a pen and paper. I'm going to pause the video, you're going to pause the video, and you are going to do the rest of them. Now be careful of this one. It's a big number, but you still follow our rule, the hundreds column. And this one doesn't have any hundreds. So what are you going to do there? Okay, everybody, here are the answers. How did you get on? Okay, everybody, here's some more practice. So pause your video, round these to the nearest 10 and these to the nearest 100. Okay, everybody, here are the answers. How did you get on? For something a little bit trickier. We are going to round these decimal numbers to the nearest whole number. Now, let's just remind ourselves about decimal numbers. Okay, a decimal number, the 8 is a whole number, the decimal point, and anything that side of the decimal point is less than 1. So if we look at our place value chart here, we have 6.2. The 6 is in the ones column, the 2 is in the tenths column. That means it's 2/10 of a whole number. So it's less than a whole number. So when we are rounding to the nearest whole number, we just have to end up with a number in the ones column. But it's still the same principle, still the same rule. We look at our number in the whole numbers, it's 6. We go next door. Is it more or less than 4? 2 is less than 4. So the answer is, to the nearest whole number, 6. Let's write that in. Okay, let's try this one. 8.8. 8 is the whole number. We go next door. Is it more or less than 4? Okay, 8 is more than 4, but remember it's 8/10 of a whole. So we are going to round our whole number up to 9. And finally, 2.5. 2 is our whole number. We go next door. Is it more or less than 4? It's a 5. We know we round up if we have a 5. So your 2 becomes 3. So here's some to practice. Remember, read the instructions. Round to the nearest whole number. Pause your screen and off you go. So how did you get on? Here are your answers. Have a look. Some tricky ones at the bottom there. Okay, I hope you're keeping up with me. I've got a few more to do. Pause your screen, have a go at these. And here are your answers. Pause the screen and see how you've got on. And I know you're all going to be really upset because this is your final task. Pause the screen and have a go at rounding to the nearest whole number. And your final answers. I hope you've enjoyed today's class, rounding to tens, hundreds and decimals. I just want to do a quick shout out to 4L. I really miss you guys. And also Rosemary wants to do a shout out to her class at Holy Trinity.
Deal.
To the Teals. Bye.